Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Celebrity Challenge, and today we have Marvel Studios assembled the making of Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. This is a 2021 film, documentary about the film. It's an hour and 6 minutes long, and yeah, it's behind the scenes. I love these behind the scene things, especially when it comes to movies I already like. So yeah, I've already reviewed Shang-Chi in a previous episode, I don't know how many years ago. More than likely when it came to Disney Plus, the day it came out. So this again, it's when it comes to a making of, you get the standard stuff where it's the actors talking about their experience and the special effects, the visual effects, the stunts, the set design, the costume design, all the things that like just movie nerds love to salivate over and just go, the level of detail that went into making buildings in the background that we as viewers, even if we got IMAX or Dolby screens or high definition everything, we may not even notice, even with that high quality projection, or even while we're watching a Disney Plus or on our Blu-ray or 4K or whatever. They still take the time to make things just so detailed, so relevant to the culture in which it's being presented, not just doing it halfway. And it's a great little bit of detail. So one of the more interesting parts of this, of course, is the fact that this was done. They started filming before the pandemic, and here it comes, and pretty much shut down all of production for a good number of months, if not a year. And yeah, just seeing it just slowly come to life. One of the few films that was able to film, at least in part, in some ways, in some situations. It's filmed in all different locations. It takes place in San Francisco, but also in a mystical other world and in different parts of China. And it's, shot in Australia, I think, part of it. So, and mostly on sound stages, so indoors. Even though the scenes that look like they're outdoors are shot indoors, so there's a lot of things I have to be careful with. Also, I probably shot some stuff in Atlanta as well, but we get to see each of the actors. One of the great things about Simu Liu, who plays Sean, or Shang-Chi, he, the very first thing he says, so I'm not spoiling anything in the documentary about a movie that you probably have seen, is the fact that when he was a kid growing up, he used to dress up as Spider-Man during, for kids' birthday parties, and do all the flips and acrobatics and things like that. He does a number of his own stunts, certainly not all of them. Nobody does or should, unless you're even Tom Cruise. Yeah, I don't know. Tom Cruise doesn't count, but when he's doing these flips and jumps dressed as Spider-Man, he could only ever get jobs as that type of character. They couldn't say, "Oh, you be Superman or be Captain America," because he's Chinese, and some kids who are too little to understand that superheroes can be anybody. Some will be obnoxious enough to call BS. That's not Superman. So he just wears a full mask, covers his entire face. You don't know that it's not Peter Parker inside that costume. And maybe he is doing flips and jumps and swinging and jumping off the roof of the house, whatever. But when he grows up now, picked out of hundreds of other people that they saw, Kevin Feige and the casting directors, they go through a lot of people, and a lot of them were really qualified. But beyond his physical abilities, his ability to do humor, and the fact that he was just a relative unknown, other than doing like a Canadian TV series, he was literally sitting in theaters in April 2020. When did Endgame come out? Just sitting there watching Endgame with the rest of us nerds in April and going, "Oh man, this is cool." And then 3 months later, he's standing on stage at Comic-Con going, "Hi, I'm the new Shang-Chi." It's just, I could just imagine anybody, even if I was just like, "Hey, I'm an actor who says just a dumb line in the background," I'd be happy with that. I'd be just like, And just me sitting in the background, like Jimmy Buffett in Jurassic World, picking up those margaritas and just taking off. I would lose my mind just being a nobody in a Marvel film. Who then, that's just an Easter egg, and I come as a major hero or villain in later films when they're truly desperate for actors to take those roles and nobody's going to see them, and they're like, might as well be that guy because nobody's watching these movies. That's, I'm sure, decades down the road, hundreds of years down the road. But back to this film, just seeing that now that he's grown up, he's playing a hero without a mask. He can be Chinese. He can be who he is. And people can see him for who he is. And there's always that fear that, oh, if it's a Chinese actor, he needs to be in this, or just an Asian actor of any type, that they have to be a kung fu master, or have to be a ninja, or they have to all know martial arts, because that's just the way they all know. That kind of thing. There's always that fear, always that kind of balance of going, are they a cliche? And it was a point of trepidation for a number of actors. I not even mentioning this. I've seen other discussions about this with the actors. It's like, do you want to do this? Or are you perpetuating a stereotype? But thankfully, it's given the chance to really lean into it. Act with Tony Leung, who is like an icon in just Chinese cinema. It's just okay. Yeah, twist my arm. So, I mean, the great thing about this is, yeah, if you're obviously a fan of the Marvel films and you just want to see how the stuff gets made, this is, again, just another one. There's so many of them. And strangely, not one for every film, and not one, I mean, most of the series. And I did have Agatha all along added to this quarter's list. Hopefully it doesn't get picked because it's not been created. As far as I know, it's not been released, at least on Disney Plus, which is strange. So I'm going to have to take it off unless they decide to make it at some point. Very strange, very strange. But yeah, you get to see all the actors talking about how they took on their parts. Sir Ben Kingsley, taking on the role of Trevor once again, and kind of rounding out the entire story of the Mandarin that had been teased all the way back in the 10 Rings in the background in the first Iron Man film, the beginning of the MCU proper, and taking it all the way into Iron Man 3, where the Mandarin shows up as portrayed by Trevor, and then All Hail the King shorts, and then now into this. It literally brings that Mandarin story full circle, and I kind of forgot that it really did all that. I don't know why I forgot that, but, you know, hey, there's a lot of movies. I tend to know more than I tend to have forgotten more than most people know. So it's just the way things work. I just have to be reminded from time to time that, oh yes, that thing happened in a Marvel movie. Because sometimes the movies and the comics and TV series just, I forget what happens. It doesn't matter. Anyway, so yeah, if you get a chance, again, there's so many of these. And this is just the latest that I've gotten to watch. I'm going to eventually burn through all of them sometime this year, probably. Because I just did a recount. At the end of this month, we're going to be done with another quarter. We're going to be down to under or around 200. Around 200 things to watch on Disney Plus. So, we might, if we keep this trend up, I might have enough episodes to take us through the end of the year. We'll see. Either way, let's pick. Oh, not even on the picking. Oh, shoot. No, we're not picking. Yesterday, you know what? I'm tempted. I'm going to pick the episode after tomorrow, just to see. But I'm not going to tell you. That was 169. You saw that? 169. Okay. It's a documentary. I'll just tell you that right now. Yesterday we saw Chang Ken Dunk, which is about a Chinese kid who wants to play basketball. Now we have this story of a Chinese guy who is a master of Kung Fu in Marvel Universe. And tomorrow we have, this was a great bridge. Tomorrow we have The Man Without Fear, the return of Daredevil to the MCU. Well, the sort of a first official inclusion of Daredevil in his own series, in Daredevil Born Again within the MCU. We've seen him in She-Hulk, and we've seen him in Spider-Man No Way Home, and as Matt Murdock. So yeah, we're finally getting his own series, and it's supposed to be super violent. Everything I've seen from it, it looks astounding. And, you know, Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio, and everybody else it looks like fun. We're getting 2 episodes, so I'm going to make sure I watch both of the episodes at midnight, or whenever it launches. The main reason why I chose this, because I don't know what time it launches. If it doesn't launch at midnight, then it's like launching at 6 o'clock tomorrow, which is when, after I normally release it, then I'll watch this thing, number 169, and then push Daredevil to the next day. This way I can interchange them if I need to. Flexibility, that's what matters. All right, Daredevil Born Again is what we're watching next on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.